So we've done a lot of things internally. So even though we haven't been able to kind of see each other, we had a wellbeing hub within Musgrove. We've had wellbeing emails coming out. Within our own departments, we've had things like virtual cream teas and stuff where we've kind of all spoken. So it's just kind of helping each other and kind of supporting each other as well. Been good. Because we provide healthcare, I mean, a lot of what we do will probably be the same. How our visiting restrictions change will obviously be informed by kind of how things changes kind of week to week, month to month. So it's hard to kind of predict what's going to happen. Sort of in a general sense, I feel that there's going to be probably a lot more working from home, and I think IT skills are going to be really important. And I think that's something that I think quite a few people noticed at the beginning of lockdown, that we all suddenly went on to Skype or Zoom or whatever, and not all of us were used to that. So yeah, IT skills and kind of communicating in a kind of a digital virtual way. So for me, kind of work experience completely changed from in person to having to find ways to talk to people and connect with people virtually. So it was a big change, and I think possibly that will be, I think now we'll probably have virtual stuff potentially ongoing all the time because we can reach more people that way.
In terms of the world of work, I think what we are finding, so there's two bits to it. So in terms of working across industry, I think clearly there's an increase in the ability to work from different places in the world. So the use of technology, and one of the outcomes, I guess, of the pandemic is it's really demonstrated how different organizations, both nationally but also locally, have come together, and I've been really impressed. So, while public health, we're part of Devon County Council, what we've been doing is also been able to work with our partners in Devon County Council, so education, social care, communication, highways and transport, as an example, HR. We've all come together to work, but also we're also working with partners outside of Devon County Council. So in terms of working really well with the NHS, for example, with district councils, but also with the voluntary and community sector. So we've seen a huge increase of people volunteering coming forward to support us, and also in the private sector as well. So we buy services from lots of different companies, both public companies but also private companies as well, and they've all come together and worked with us to say, how can we come together to support the pandemic flu response in Devon. So I've been really impressed about how we've managed to work together across the whole of Devon County Council's authority area. It's been really impressive. I've been overwhelmed by the support which, I say, both private, public and the voluntary sector have literally bent over backwards to ask, say, Steve, how can I help? What do you want us to do to help in terms of respond to the pandemic? So I think one of the benefits of the pandemic has brought together lots of agencies, and I think we've developed a relationship which will stand the test of time far beyond COVID, which I think for some areas of Devon will put us in a really good position in terms of improving the economy, opportunities going forward to work collaboratively, opportunities for the employment market as well, will over time strengthen and develop.
The way people were working in social care was quite different now, as if maybe it would have been 6 months ago or sort of a year ago or whatever. So there's a lot of emphasis on things like, infection prevention and control. So at all times we had to wear personal protective equipment. So that involved wearing a mask at all times. And then when you were delivering the personal care, we had to put on like gloves and plastic aprons. And all the patients were in individual rooms. So every time you went into a room, you would put on clean, fresh PPE, and then as you're coming out of the room, you would dispose of that in the correct manner, wash your hands and so on.
So at Hinkley Point C, we've got around 1,300 jobs coming through in the next phase. And that's where we're hoping to recruit from the local population in Somerset. We're looking at the mechanical and engineering phase in particular, because that's going to be really key to getting us to that next point of generation. And that means that there are level 2 opportunities for people to go into their local colleges and study that. For myself, I'm going to be going to the office and to Hinkley Point C less than I was. I'm going to be working from home more. But that's also an exciting opportunity for me, because it's a new way of working for myself. And I love a challenge, and it's always exciting to embrace change and to go forward with what you can do and not focus just on what you can't do or what you're not able to do right now.
I think that during the last few months of coronavirus, I've seen a really great trend in organisations wanting each other to survive and to succeed. Everyone's kind of turned into really nice people, which has been lovely, and very supportive of each other. So collaboration's been really important. Some organisations that specialise in something like marketing have turned their skills and assets to help other people reach new audiences. Predicting what the world of work might look like going forward in the next 6 months, 12 months, 5 years is very difficult. As we all know, things have changed really quickly. I think the scientists are saying that coronavirus isn't going to go away for a while. And so we will have to kind of keep social distancing and keep the whole hand washing routine. And so a full, busy working office is not something we're likely to see for a very long time. People might work in smaller groups. So for Cosmic, what's important is that we acknowledge that people need to work together once or twice a week, maybe, or for a meeting occasionally. So allowing people to collaborate is really important, and they can do that via Zoom or whatever channel they want to use. But working in small bubbles to share with their team is really important. For young people coming into the new workplace, getting training and support is going to be difficult. So employers like Cosmic need to really think about how to do that. It's one thing to think your staff who've worked there for many years can adapt, but the challenge for us now is to just train people from scratch and how we get them into the workplace for the first time. So companies will be thinking about this, and they'll be thinking, how do we do that? It won't be a case of everyone spending all day long in the office. So young people will need to be flexible and need to show that they can be trusted to work at home and in the office in a balanced way.
The opportunities that COVID, if you see it that way, have set up are around local supply chains. So we have seen a growth in people interested about where their food comes from and using more local suppliers. So, you know, buying eggs through the local shop rather than through the supermarket, or getting a beef delivery from a local farmer rather than going to the supermarket. So we've seen more people going to those sorts of home deliveries or local supply chain.
So I think there's lots of ways in which young people can still use their existing skills, but it might just have to be in a different way than perhaps what we're used to.
Well, certainly from the apprenticeship delivery perspective, the academic side at colleges has already changed. A lot more is being delivered at home on Google Classrooms and Zoom classes. So I see that carrying on going forward. So you won't necessarily be physically going into an education establishment on a regular basis. There'll be a lot more virtual delivery.
Well, our new way of doing things virtually online is something that we're probably going to adopt for the future, not as our whole apprenticeship recruitment piece, but actually just as the starter for 10. So nothing really beats seeing you guys up close and personal in a practical activity. But in order to help our candidates figure out where they belong in the company, what jobs would suit them, we're definitely going to look at moving that forward and see how we can use it for 2021 recruitment. I think the world of work is just catching up with young people. I think the new generation are very used to doing things online, talking online, doing FaceTime, and it's almost like actually they're more ready for that kind of environment than us old fuddy-duddies were. And actually we're just catching up with them. So yeah, we're going to see more training delivered online. We're going to see more interactions done online. But actually the new generation are used to all of that. I think the hardest challenge will be, especially whilst we're still under social distancing, and I think we're going to peak and trough, is the human interaction. And I think that's the biggest challenge that young people are going to have, is that they mustn't forget that human interaction and being in the place and in the same place as somebody else and being able to communicate with them person to person rather than screen to screen is still going to be so important.
So coronavirus and work experience don't particularly go together, but it's something that we've been looking at since obviously coronavirus has hit. The first thing we did obviously was close the programme just because it was the safest option at the time, and also we've been working at a one person per van rule, so we can't have any work experience going out in vans with people, especially work experience who aren't able to drive yet, because a lot of people do work experience while they're still at school and so on. But we've been looking at possible virtual work experience opportunities instead. So I know this is something that I think quite a few companies are looking at as well. But I think we have a variety of different pathways that people can do work experience with us. So that's engineering and construction, science and the environment, corporate business or IT. And they are areas that we all want to look at to sort of provide separate virtual work experience programs. So whether that's just like a one-day program that anyone can just go on and do online, find on our website, or maybe like something that offers maybe more like a week-length program where they are able to sort of check in with a manager or someone to sort of find out updates about what's going on in the company at the time and sort of link that back to what's in the virtual work experience.